In regard of the maps, over here, we have different maps that can show us different things. The first thing that you're noticing here is colors that are separating the borders of each countries. This is perhaps the most common in every single grand strategy title that you play, including Paradox Interactive ones we're going to be using. This is shown by clicking here. You can see that there's a world here and it says countries. Now, if I click here again, you're going to see blocks. It changes to an image of 3 little men, which is now selected. Here is going to show us the blocks because we have just started. There are no blocks whatsoever on the actual match. Let's return to countries. Other things that you can disable or enable are also enabled here by default. The first thing that you can see are names in this symbol. If you click here, you are going to disable the names, but I don't see any reason you would like to do that. Over here, you can see details. If you activate the economy's map mode, you're going to see numbers here. Now, if you don't want to see these numbers, if the numbers are on the way, for example, in here, I would zoom in and there's a lot of numbers here because the economies are showing us all the resources and all the things that are in each countries. But if you think that this is too much, you can click here and the details are gone. Buildings are shown by default and are represented by these small squares. If I zoom in, you're going to see how this building, which is the Parliament of Bogota, is now shown, but if I click here, is going to disappear. Now, these buttons here are also useful if your computer is having a lot of processing problems because of the cluttered amount of objects that are presented on the map. You can always declutter it by deselecting and disabling things such as buildings and details and also spies. Let me show you what is a spy, and we're going to talk about spies later on. Spy is this little man here. As you can see, we have 2 spies here. How do we know that we have 2 spies? Because the 2 spies here are represented with these 2 magnifiers. This means that there are 2 guys inside here. So let me show you what happens if we click spies. The spies disappear. Then over here we have units. Let's find out where are our units over here. I think we're going to find some of them down here. Units are represented by this symbol and a number beneath the symbol at the side of the flag of the country. Let's zoom in and let's see the actual soldiers here. Over here, you can see that if I click here, the unit disappears as well. You can always right click and also left click. It works with both clicks. What else do we have here? We have top-down camera. This button here is very useful because when you zoom in, the camera is going to tilt. As you can see, I'm going to zoom out and then I'm going to zoom in over here. And you can see how the camera tilts. There you go. But if you click this button here, it will show you the top-down camera. The top-down camera is not going to tilt. And you're going to zoom in and zoom out, always watching the camera in a top view. The economies button is going to show the name of the country, the actual GDP growth, the amount of metals, the amount of fuel, and the amount of rare elements. Over here we have relations. If we click relations, we're going to see that our country is in blue and it has different kinds of relations with other countries. Evidently, red means that the relations are not good and green means good. We can see that there's a little bit of a shade of green in here. In regions, we're going to see separated regions for each of the countries, including the other countries. So you can see how every single part of the world is going to be separated in regions here if you want to know what regions is what. There's another way to see that the regions that we're going to talk about in a few moments. The normal one is terrain. Terrain is going to show you what is the terrain of the area. And here we see cultures. Over here we can see names of different cultures. This is the perfect occasion in which you're going to disable the actual details, and then you're going to be able to see the cultures of the countries. You can see Spanish culture here. You can see Catalan culture, Portuguese, French culture, English, Welsh, German, Polish, Ukrainian, Russian, so on and so forth. This here is the management window. The management window is going to show you plenty of information about the country. The first tab here is the government tab. You can go to the economy tab, military tab, and the province tab. Do you remember that I said something about what is the other way that you can see regions here? If you would like, for example, to see the region here that says Cuenca del Plata, this region here is visually represented in here. We can see the difference in between the Cuenca de Plata with La Mesopotamia. These are two different regions, evidently. If we click here, which is the country's visual map, you're not going to see those regions because this region of the actual Cuenca del Plata is comprised of two different countries. But how do you know which region is which without selecting the regions option here in the maps? Well, you click here and you're going to see this chunk of land, and you go here to this tab where it says province. And here you see Cuenca del Plata, and then you can see that the whole region is this orange box. And if you zoom in, you're going to see that, for example, Montevideo is one part of that. You can see here. You can see Rivera over here. You can see Paysandú and Rio Grande do Sul. These four provinces comprised the region of Cuenca del Plata. Another way to see it, if you pay attention to what you are seeing, if I click, for example, here Rivera, you're going to see that the actual province is now highlighted. However, you can see that there is Rio Grande do Sul, Paysandú, and Montevideo. They have these stripes. Okay, you can see it. This means that everything that is inside is part of the same region. The relation between regions and provinces is always very important to understand in grand strategy titles. Most of the grand strategy titles in the market will have this distinction. Even Total War games have the same distinction. You have regions, which are a huge chunk of a piece of land, and you have inside of those regions are different sections of provinces, so different amount of provinces comprise one region. With that being said, we can go and investigate what else do we have here. We have several different tabs that appear in the left side every time that you select another tab in the upper side. Over here we see the basic information of the country, in which you see the name of the country, in which you can actually double click and you can edit the actual country over here. If you want to know more about editing your own country flag and how you do it and how do you understand this window here, make sure to comment and let me know. Here you see accepted cultures, and you see that it says block composition, action points, and all the factors that contribute to that, the population and all the factors and effects of that amount of population. So you can see that already known concepts such as action points, blocks, and including accepted cultures, let's include core creation and casus belli, are present in Realpolitiks. Over here we can see politics, in which we can see the political system. We have 3 different political systems in Realpolitiks: democracies, authoritarianism, and totalitarianism. You can see how each of these systems are going to be increased or decreased. So this is going to determine the actual political system of your own country. You can see down here the parliament. This is a democracy in which we have different ideologies inside the parliament. We can see the actual radical center, which is here in orange. The green one is the center left. This one, the one with the crown, is the center right. The purple with the gun is the far right. And the far left is the one, the symbol of the communism. Each of these have a different color, is color coded, and is represented in the actual parliament. What is the actual amount of that type of ideology on your government? In here you have diplomacy, in which you can click different options here. This is going to tell you how warmonger you are. So this means how much do you like to declare war. Casus belli that you have, enemy casus belli as well, and liberations. If you would like to liberate a country, for example in Brazil, you can click here and you can, for example, click this and you can liberate Mato Grosso. So you say play as liberated country, so you liberate this piece of land, and then you can even play as that liberated country. The same way you can do it in Europa Universalis. Over here, if you see unification, you can see that you can unify America or unify South America, and it's going to give you several different prerequisites that you need to fill in order to achieve this actual challenge. If you haven't seen my previous video in which I achieved Great Colombia Simón Bolívar's dream, you can see it in my channel, and you can visit this video over here so you can enjoy the conquest of Grand Colombia. Link on the description, and I'm going to pin it so you can find it more easy. Down here we see the projects which we are going to talk. Here we have different victory conditions. For example, this one is the most quickest. So it says cultural victory conditions. We need to get the project revealed destiny and the Black Ops project in order to get the cultural victory condition achieved. And here we have owned provinces. These are all the provinces, including the water provinces that are part of Brazil. Brazil is a huge country, so this is perhaps one of the countries that you will see most populated in this regard. In this tab over here, another tab will appear when you select another country, and that tab is the Foreign Affairs tab. The Foreign Affairs tab is the tab that will show you any information that will be interesting for you in regard to other countries. For example, if I click here in Peru, you're going to see Peru here, or Chile, you're going to see Chile here, the flag. You can double click and zoom to the capital, so on and so forth. In this case, Argentina, you zoom to the Buenos Aires, so on and so forth. Here you can see stuff such as the GDP, the population, and unemployment rate, so you can assess when to do harm or not. We're going to talk about actions and agent actions as well further in this interesting tutorial. Here you can see the basic information of the country in question. Here you see owned provinces of such country and trade points in regard of that country, the politics of the country, democracy, and how it is going to change. This is the lead political party in the Argentinian country, and you can see that the elections of this country are going to be listed here. You can see all the effects of interventionism, personal control, and militarism. And over here we can see how warmonger the country is. If I select another country, for example Chile, and we see the same amount of options here. But here we can see that, for example, the armed forces of Argentina in mechanized infantry are 24, and for Chile are 10. So here you can assess as well here in the Wars tab in the left side for the foreign affairs how many troops the potential enemy would present to you. Over here we have the tasks section. In here you can click the plus button and you're going to see that the task has 598 days, and it says that let's make a move, collect action points. If you reach this amount of action points, you will get this reward. The reward is going to be a score of 150, which is going to be added here, and money income plus 6% for 400 days. If you don't, then you're going to get a hit on score. You can also resign and confirm. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, this is the time to do so. I would highly recommend to you to subscribe to Victus History and Wargaming. Mostly all of the things that you're going to see on the channel are war games that are related with history. Any war game that you have in mind and anything that you would like to suggest me to show you in the channel, you can do it via the comments. Don't forget to always interact with me in the comments. This is something that I really love to see. You commenting and interacting with me, because the point of the channel is to create a very healthy and huge community that loves history and wargaming. Wargaming is a very niche hobby. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Tell others that you might think that would like to enjoy this type of topics. In the channel, I also focus on storytelling, and I would recommend to check my channel for different other videos that you can enjoy in storytelling, such as my Shadow Empire series, in which I will create an amazing story for you to enjoy while we play the war game. I also include topics about historical stuff. We're going to see the warfare, we're going to talk about government, the upkeep projects, what is the HDI, political approval, actions, and what actions can you do. We are going to talk about spies, diplomacy, building stuff, the different military stuff that you can do, trading resources, how the blocks work, UN as well is going to be something important,